Newsbeat. This week's Earth Positive News, brought to you by Made by Planet. This is Beaky, your host, bringing you happy news from across the globe, so friends, stay tuned. First up, we have a piece of fantastic news about a bird called the takahe, from New Zealand. Takahe are very unique creatures in appearance. A large, flightless bird that was believed for decades to be extinct. Like a number of New Zealand birds, they evolved without native land mammals surrounding them and adapted to fill the ecosystem niches that mammals would occupy. 18 of the birds were released in the Lake Wakatipu-Waimarie Valley, an alpine area of New Zealand's South Island last week. Initially, conservationists gathered and artificially incubated the eggs to prevent them being eaten by predators. As they hatched, the chicks were fed and raised by workers wearing sock puppets with the birds' distinctive red beaks. After switching to breeding the birds in captivity, the Department of Conservation, DOC, gradually introduced them to a few island sanctuaries and national parks. Their work to sustain takahe is part of a far wider effort in New Zealand to protect its unique, threatened birds. Next, we have a news coming from Mexico to protect vaquita marina porpoises. These cute porpoises live in a place called the Gulf of California, also known as the Sea of Cortez. These little guys are endangered, and they can't be kept in captivity or bred like some other animals. To help the vaquitas, the Mexican Navy came up with a clever plan. They started putting heavy blocks made of concrete into the water. These blocks have sharp hooks on them. When the illegal fishermen put out their gill nets, they get all tangled up in these hooks, and their nets get ruined. This was supposed to make them stop fishing in the zero-tolerance area, which is like a special zone where fishing is not allowed to protect the vaquitas. So, the Navy decided to talk to the fishermen in a place called San Felipe to figure out what to do. They want to put more blocks outside the zero-tolerance area where the vaquitas seem to like to swim. It's like making a safe space for the porpoises. Next up, we have news coming in from the chilly waters off Maine's coast of a unique bird named puffin. The people who watch over these puffins, like the National Audubon Society, were worried about them. Climate change do make it hard for puffins to take care of babies, especially when there is a shortage of their favorite fish, the sand lance. But thankfully, these special birds have had their second consecutive rebound year for fledgling chicks after suffering a catastrophic 2021. These puffins have a special name, clowns of the sea, or sea parrots, because they look so funny and colorful. They live in burrows and feed their babies small fishes. A couple of years ago, they didn't have enough fish, and only a few of the puffins could take care of their babies. Now, the scientists say that while puffins can handle some changes, climate change is still a big problem. Some of the dangers are things like super hot weather, not enough food, rising sea levels, and trouble having babies. But for now, it's nice to know that these funny and colorful puffins have had a happy year. Now, we have got a piece of fantastic news from Central America about some rescued animals. They were in trouble because they were taken away from their homes and kept as pets. Two groups called Humane Society International, Latin America and Asociación Rescate y Conservación de Vida Silvestre, ARCAS, teamed up to help these animals. About 40 animals rescued included 14 different species, and took them to a special place called Yaxha Nacum Naranjo National Park in Guatemala. Before releasing them into the wild, these animals went through some special training. They learned how to fly, jump, run, hide from other animals, and find their own food, just like they would in nature. Keeping wild animals as pets is a dangerous trend that is seriously affecting our ecosystems, said Andrea Borrell, the executive director of HSI Latin America. Along with their local partner, Arcus, they work to give these animals, who should have never been taken from their homes, a second chance in life to grow and flourish. Now friends, let us meet this week's eco-warrior, Rocco Da Silva, from South Africa. He is the founder of Future Kids Club, a dedicated initiative involving kids pledging to recycle plastic. In his words, "The future kids means children being responsible for their future and taking action to make sure we have a clean and safe environment." The club now has around 100 young members, dedicated to clean up the beach every month. They go to Strand Beach, about 40 of them, and clean up all the plastic and trash they find. Rocco believes it's essential to remove plastic from the beach. He says, "We need to use our power and stop buying plastic products from big companies. We're just helping them when we buy their stuff. Lots of animals are in danger because of plastic pollution, and it's our fault." Last March, he's taken on an ocean promise and is already on track to collect 1,000 kilograms of waste from the beach. Da Silva's environmental efforts have led him to becoming the youngest winner of the Petco Waste Reduction Youth Warrior Award. Da Silva became the #PlasticFreeMzansi campaign ambassador for this month, which is about encouraging followers on social media to avoid using plastic items and use alternatives instead. The public is being challenged not to use 3 items: plastic earbuds, chip packets, and bottles. The #PlasticFreeMzansi campaign is created by some cool groups like Beach Co-op, WWF South Africa, WWS Sassy, and TWYG. Rocco has noticed that since his friends joined him for the beach cleanups, they've started making better choices too. They don't use polystyrene, they avoid plastic straws, and they're saying no to plastic shopping bags. Way to go, Rocco, and all the young heroes at Future Kids Club, showing us that it's our responsibility to make the right choices. Before I sign off, friends, here are some of the best art imaginations received last week. So, if you have positive art creations on our planet Earth, send them to me on the details given in the description below and I would love to feature them. Until next time. Happy Earth, happy children.